Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened.
There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America.
Good night and good luck.
Hey folks, it's Rick. Welcome back to the Lincoln Project podcast. Before we start, I want you to meet Elton. He's a new addition to our family. He is a 2-week-old shelter cat that we just picked up this weekend after we fell in love with him. Sorry, I have a heart. I know you guys like to think of me as the cold, malicious bastard, but I do love me some cats. And dogs. I have dogs too. But that's Elton. He's going to probably walk back and forth in the frame a number of times during the recording today. But that's just all good because Elton he's got good vibes, good mojo about that cat. There he comes. See, look at him. Look at him. Look at that little stud. Yes, Elton, explore the world. But anyway, folks, the topic today that I really want to talk to you about is things that matter and things that don't. Elton matters. First thing that doesn't matter, the vice presidential selection of Donald Trump. As we approach his day of sentencing, you're going to hear that ratchet up like crazy. I want to tell you why they're doing it. They're doing it because Donald Trump is about to be sentenced, for the 34 crimes of which he has been convicted. The criminal felon Donald Trump, who is also a felon and a criminal, and if you weren't briefed on it 34 times, a jury decided that he was guilty of being a felonious criminal. That's coming up on the 11th of July. That is going to ratchet Trump mentally into the stratosphere. He's already bouncing off the walls about it. He's already furious about it. He's already never felt this distressed and stressed before. So they're looking for things to turn it back into the comfortable reality show of Donald Trump. They want you to think it matters. Trump's vice presidential selection will not matter. Whether it's Elise Stefanik from New York, who really, really still wants it so badly. I mean, she's like, do I need to put a gravel pit in the yard, Donald? What can I do to make you love me? Or it's J.D. Vance, who is a walking catalog of never Trump rhetoric, material, and emails, J.D., all the way back to 2016, who suddenly found Orange Jesus and converted to full MAGA Trumpism. And there's nothing like the spirit of the converted to make you irritated just how they used to be. You're going to find that all these people in the list, Doug Burgum, who would pick Doug Burgum? It's the weirdest thing. First off, none of them change the electoral college map, okay? None of them alter the electoral college map. Doug Burgum is from North Askrakistan, North Dakota, some stand in the northern tier of the empty quarter of the American Midwest. And God bless North Dakota. This is a lovely country, but it doesn't make a difference electorally. They are going to vote for Trump. There's no changing that. And even if they weren't, and Doug Burgum brought the 2 electoral college votes from, or whatever the de minimis number from North Dakota is, it doesn't matter. J.D. Vance is not going to make Ohio turn from blue to red. It's already a red state. It's going to vote for Trump. New York is a blue state. There's no universe in which New York says suddenly, oh my gosh, Elise Stefanik, she's such a great candidate. We're going to convert and we're going to become a Republican state. It's not happening. Tim Scott of South Carolina, if you don't think South Carolina is already in Donald Trump's political pocket, I have many bridges, Trump steaks, and Trump vodka to sell you because that's what it's going to be. Trump wants the reality show because that's the context and the world he's comfortable in. So there will be all these stories leaking out of Trump world, many of which are going to be placed by Donald Trump himself, about who's going to be loyal, who's up, who's down, who's in, who's out. I'll tell you, 2 of them don't matter at all. Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio. Both of those guys are fighting to be Secretary of State. They're not fighting to be Vice President. The VP contest, though, at the end of the day, folks, it's pointless. It's semi-tragic. It makes no difference. What does matter in the coming weeks is the fact that the legal juggernaut that is, I'm really having cat technical difficulties, folks, right now, so you're just going to have to pardon me for a second, because this comes with the territory with a kitten, apparently. The idea that Trump's out of the woods legally is absurd. He's going to still have many of his colleagues, cohorts, former attorneys, friends, Skells. Steve Bannon is going to prison at the end of the month, which is going to be very exciting. But look at the people who Donald Trump is still in contact with today who are felons. This is something that matters. The felonies matter. The Biden campaign released an ad this week that could have been made here at the Lincoln Project. Why? Because it went at the criminal convictions of Donald Trump. There was an article that I wrote on my Substack called "Pick Up the Sword," and it argued that the Democrats who wanted to move on and let the media cover the Trump conviction, let them do the perspective for the no, you have to remind voters of this. And so the Biden campaign this week picked up the sword. They ran a terrific ad.
In the courtroom, we see Donald Trump for who he is. He's been convicted of 34 felonies, found liable for sexual assault, and he committed financial fraud. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's been working, lowering healthcare costs and making big corporations pay their fair share. This election is between a convicted criminal who's only out for himself and a president who's fighting for your family.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
And that ad speaks to something that is hurting Trump very deeply. Don't buy the MAGA spin, folks. The MAGA spin is that, the trial actually made Trump more secure. It's made it improve. It's improved his position. This is what we refer to in politics as a lie. And this lie depends on the idea that no American voter is moved by Trump being a criminally convicted felon that a jury determined was guilty. That's not going to get any better, okay? This sentencing is going to cause Trump to lose his mind. As we go forward into the summer, we're going to still see Trump have some exposure in these other criminal trials. And the cohort of people around him, again, this constellation of ex-lawyers, Stop the Steal activists, all these other weirdos that are out there in the world, they're all going to be on trial. We've got Wisconsin, you've got Arizona, you've got Michigan. And in all these states, this isn't happening because Donald Trump is just being persecuted by the evil Democrat, Joe Biden. They're happening because Donald Trump directed his allies to commit crimes. Donald Trump directed his allies to engage in criminal behavior. Donald Trump and his allies were involved in a criminal conspiracy to steal the 2020 election. Now, as we ratchet towards this thing, the secret is not to take your foot off the gas and let Trump have a breathing space. The secret is not to fall victim to the bogus vice presidential hunt. The secret is to stay focused on driving Trump and Trump voters apart. A lot of those Trump voters, even the ones who are pretty MAGA in every other respect, research is showing us, particularly with women voters, that we understand women voters at the Lincoln Project are going to be one of the most vital cohorts in this election. We understand how to talk to them. We've done that a lot since 2020. This idea that the convictions don't matter is a MAGA lie. You've got to continue on this path. Donald Trump's criminality is now something that has blossomed into fullness, finally. Everybody always knew he was kind of a low-grade criminal scumbag. They understood it. They got it. He was a grifter sort of bouncing from con to con to con. And that's everything from not paying his workers to Trump University, Trump Vitamins, all the multi-level marketing garbage he did. And they also bought into the big lie because he was one of the few con men in history who was ever given a television show for 15 years. And that television show has the greatest normative force about what people believed about Trump. Okay? It's all falling apart now. Even for Trump, it's falling apart. Even he is mentally disturbed by what's happening here. Even he understands that the moment that he had in 2016 and the moment that he had in 2020 were capstones of a career of criminality, not a career of success, a career of business achievements, or a career late-stage political accomplishments. He didn't think he was going to win in 16. He understood that there's a certain number of Americans who will always get him. But now we got a larger number of Americans who get him. And they get that he's a criminal. They get it. They've seen it. They understand it. final thing that does matter, and I think is going to matter a lot, is the debate. This debate, I think, is finally in the correct format and rule set. This is not Donald Trump stalks around the stage, hovering behind Hillary Clinton like a giant orange bag of suet. This is not Donald Trump on the Republican primary debate stage in 2016, raging and eye-rolling and huffing and name-calling. This is a debate where each candidate will be at a podium in a room without a cheering crowd of MAGA fanatics, without Fox News hosts there to pre-digest, to chew up the questions for Donald and spit him into his mouth like a baby bird. This is going to be a real contest. These men are going to be at their podiums. They're going to be standing 25 feet apart or whatever the number is. And when they're not speaking, and it's not their turn to speak, their microphones will be off. Donald Trump is not going to be able to handle this kind of debate. First off, unless the debate asks questions like, Donald, if you were in an electric boat and a shark was just offshore, what would you do? That's not the kind of question he's going to be asked. They're going to go at this thing. They're going to ask him questions that he can't answer. I'll give you an example. And CNN, if you're listening. The example is this. Donald Trump the other day said, we're going to replace all U.S. income taxes with tariffs. Now, this is like me saying I'm going to pay my American Express bill with rutabagas, or that I'm going to buy a plane ticket with fairy dust and wishes. It's just a complete, absolute, total economic flim-flam. It's a scam. It's one more Trump line that he thinks sounds good. Now, the vast majority of Americans at the very upper end of the spectrum who received the Trump tax cut in 2017, they don't really pay income taxes, folks. That's not their thing. They don't really care. They want things like carried interest deductions and capital gains taxes and those sort of things. But this isn't going to work. So I want CNN, I want the host to say, Jake to say, okay, Donald, you've said that you are going to eliminate income taxes by putting tariffs on things. And I ask him to explain the economic underpinnings of this idea, because you can't. Unless it's like hurdle, burtle, Trump can't explain that sort of thing. I want to see them confront two competing visions of the United States in the world. You've got Donald Trump, who is pre-selling that he's going to betray Ukraine, have Zelensky cut off immediately, and give Putin what he wants most in the world, which is a lifeline to defeat Ukraine. You've got Joe Biden, who's leading an international coalition of partners who are making Ukraine capable of defending itself against an illegal Russian invasion of their nation that is involved in the relentless slaughter of Ukrainian civilians by the indiscriminate and discriminate use of guided weapons into homes, apartments, hospitals, schools, etc. I want to see them confront those two visions on the stage. That will matter. Now, does the president need to be sharp? Yeah, buddy. A couple Diet Cokes beforehand, okay? But Donald Trump can't be sharp. He doesn't have the mental discipline. He lacks the physical strength and stamina he had back in 2020 and 2016. And you see it because when you watch Trump's events now, he's a shrunken figure. He's a smaller figure. It's why he tells the same stupid anecdotes over and over. Those are comfortable terrain for him. This is Grandpa in his chair mumbling through his dentures about his adventures in the Great War. It is not a candidate who has a comprehensive vision, a philosophy, thoughts about what the world is going to look like in the end of a Trump term, unless, of course, you view the Mad Max radioactive hellscape where cannibal mutants eat the living as they envy the dead. You're not going to see Donald Trump in this debate perform at the level that you imagine Trump will perform in a debate. There is a thought, there is a conceit that Donald Trump is a master performer, a master debater. I just said it. I had to say it. I'm sorry. And that he's somehow going to dominate this debate stage. I don't think it's going to matter. I think you're going to see that Trump is weak, see that Trump is strange, see that Trump is diminished. So the things that matter, you should focus on. Yes, focus on the debate. Let's watch for the debate. Focus on the criminality. It's the right thing to focus on. Don't fall for the reality show BS of Trump and this VP stuff. They're going to roll it out in increasing tempo and frenzy. And I will tell you, by the way, folks, who will fall for it. Our friends in the mainstream media are going to write hundreds of thousands of words about the various potential VP picks, even though many of them already know that Trump has no possibility of selecting 90% of the people on that list, and that Trump world itself is riven with these Byzantine conspiracies of different factions of who wants whom as the VP. It won't matter. The VP won't matter. And here's the thing. Does anybody think that Mike Pence moved the needle all that much in 2020? He didn't. It didn't matter. That Mike Pence moved the needle all that much in 2016 didn't matter. Historically speaking, vice presidential candidates have 3 points where they matter. 1, the day they're selected. It can go well or it can go poorly. Dan Quayle, QED. 2, the vice presidential debate. I don't know how the vice presidential debate is going to go this year, but I can tell you one thing. I like Kamala's odds. She's smart. She's been around the block on this stuff. She's an underpriced stock these days. She has improved a lot. And look, I said back in 2020, I thought that she was a weird kind of player. She could hit home runs and grand slams sometimes, but other than that, she's like a 105 hitter. And she's improved a lot. And the fact that she is here now at a different stage in her life and her career, I think she's going to be a formidable debater. And so I think that whoever they put on the stage with her, which is why I think Trump's leaning to Vance right now, needs to be somebody who is absolutely aces at this stuff. And she needs to be ready to dismantle the fantasy world BS that person's going to have to bring to the stage. Donald Trump is the tallest, smartest, handsomest president of all time, whose economy was a golden gift of paradisical wonder. She's got to be able to dismantle that quickly. But the VP stuff is not going to matter. It really is not going to change the ballgame. Focus on the crime, focus on the upcoming debate, and I think you're going to be in a better position for July than we even hope for. All right, folks, we will see you again next time. You can follow the Lincoln Project on every social media platform known to mankind in the entire universe. You can follow me on @TheRickWilson on all the major social media platforms. Also, Elton the cat does not have any social media yet, but he will soon. Let us know if you'd like him to. Also, please like and subscribe. Do all the things that makes the algorithm go. We live in that world where we're at the mercy of YouTube and Google and all the algos out there. And your help has made the Lincoln Project able to really communicate a message to the American people and American voters for the last few years. We'd really appreciate you to give it a big bump. Thanks so much.